Good morning and namaskar from India. Welcome, Dr. Anthony Bagarian, and uh, I think Professor Imran Salim has not. Dr. Professor
Yes,
Athir
good morning.
Abdullah Muhammad.
Assalamu
Walaikum assalam. I think you have joined from another link. And also welcome Professor Imran Salim from Aligarh Muslim University. Let me just introduce a very quick introduction so that the plenary guests, they know each other. So we have with us Professor Imran Salim from Aligarh Muslim University. He's the Dean and Professor of Faculty of Commerce. And soon we'll also have Dr. Ravi Prakash Bhagat. And we have Professor Athir Abdullah Muhammad from Department of Industrial Management, College of Administration and Economics from Baghdad University, Iraq. And we have Dr. Anthony Bagarian he's a quality manager of Vector System Corporation. He's from France. Welcome you all guests. And I'll also have a detailed introduction. This was a very brief introduction, so I did not say much about your profiles and all. And let me also join my co-host, Dr. Sunil Kumar. He's joining soon. And am I audible to all of you? Am I audible to Professor Imran Salim?
Sure.
Am I audible to Dr. Professor Athir Abdullah Muhammad? And I'm also audible to Dr. Anthony Bagarian.
Yes, I hear you.
Welcome you all. And let me just a little bit more elaborated introduction of the professors. I'll introduce first Professor Imran Salim. Professor Imran Salim is a former Vice Chancellor. He started his journey of teaching professional as an assistant professor in the Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University on March 10, 1992. He has served as Professor, Dean, Faculty of Management, and the Head of Department of Management at Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. He was elevated to the position of Vice Chancellor of Singhania University in Rajasthan and served there for 2 years. Professor Salim has also served as Head of Department and Head under the World Bank Project and a consultant under Social Service Agreement, United Nations, and also a consultant at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie. Professor Salim has excellent academic career with PG Merit Gold Medal, PG Merit Scholarship, and GRF Net, etc. to his credit. His core area of specialization is human capital management and entrepreneurship. His major research includes entrepreneurship and human resource management. Professor Salim has published 6 books and large number of research papers in the reputed national and international peer-reviewed index journal. We welcome you, Professor Imran Salim.
Thank you.
And now, a quick introduction of Dr. Ravi Bhagat. He's soon to join. And Dr. Ravi Bhagat has 11 years of experience.
Mr. Adil,
yes, sir.
Can I just, the
yes,
conference
sir.
was scheduled at 9:30. And
yes, sir.
It is only 23. So maybe let others join.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Let me just, okay, sir.
Because I think there may be people who would be willing to join at 9:30.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, this is only a suggestion.
It's good suggestion. Yes, sir, it's good. It's good. So we should wait 2-3 more minutes, and then I'll introduce other guests also.
Hello, Anthony sir. Good morning.
Morning, Imran Salim.
Good morning, Imran Salim sir.
Good morning. this online interaction has actually empowered all of us. And I believe it is a strong possibility to have wisdom from people like Anthony and others from across the world. It is a pleasure. I mean, it's an opportunity. So.
You're right. Here is too early. Here's at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It has, COVID has somewhat instigated a lot of entrepreneurship, where within organizations we are attempting to work out things. In a way, it has affected the students because the physical interaction and peer group learning has abstained, but it's still, I mean, given the opportunities and the scenario, somehow the world could make out, especially the educational world has really been able to stand to that situation. The youth has really made a way out. So that's very interesting.
True, sir. Very true, sir.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Good morning, Dr. Ravi Prakash Bhagat.
Morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ravi, sir.
Just for a quick introduction, Dr. Ravi Prakash Bhagat is from MDI Murshidabad. He is an assistant professor there. And it is 9:30. I think, shall I introduce?
Sure,
like
please.
I gave a bit elaborated introduction of the guest, but okay. Like. Okay. From technical team, are you recording it right now?
Yes, it is going
It's
on.
getting recorded. I think it's
Oh,
recorded.
Yes, yes, it is going on.
So let me introduce again. Professor Imran Salim is a former Vice Chancellor. He started his journey to teaching profession as Assistant Professor in the Department of Commerce. He served as a Dean and at Faculty of Management at Jamia Hamdard, New Delhi. He was elevated to position of Vice Chancellor of Singhani University, Rajasthan for about 2 years. He has also served as the head under the World Bank Project and consultant under Social Service Agreement, United Nations, and also a consultant at Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration. Professor Salim has excellent academic career with PG Merit Gold Medal, PG Merit Scholarship, and JRF Net etc. to his credit. His core area of specialization is human capital management. His major research areas includes entrepreneurship and human resource management. Professor Salim has published 6 books and a large number of research papers in reputed national and international peer-reviewed and indexed journals. Now let me introduce Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat. Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat has 11 plus years of experience as researcher, practitioner, and trainer. His major academic credentials include MBA, PhD, and UGC NET. He has been primarily associated in the areas of marketing and journal management. His research work undertaken by Dr. Ravi is based on the contemporary consumer behavior and typically based on the marketing environment. His pertinent work of modern marketing and business practices have been presented and showcased in many international conferences such as ICSSR, IMB, IML, IITBHU, and other renowned institutions. Dr. Ravi has published papers in international and national journals of repute with high citations. He has also served as a full-time scholar, a teaching and research assistant at NIT Trichy Institute of National Importance. As an academic reviewer, he actively engages with reputed publications like Sage, Emerald, Science Direct, Palgrave, Springer, and IGI Global. Prior to joining the academia, Dr. Ravi worked in the capacity of various managerial positions in startups and small businesses. He has worked for projects in B2B marketing, institutional services, retailing, etc. for various customer segments. We welcome you, Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat.
Thank you, sir.
Now, I'll invite my co-host, Dr. Sunil, to introduce other 2 guests.
Okay. Okay. So, good morning, all. Yes, I'm delighted to introduce my another keynote speaker, Dr. Atir Abdullah Muhammad. He's an assistant professor at Baghdad University, Iraq. He holds a master's degree in industrial administration from the University of Baghdad, Iraq in 2007. In 2018, he holds a PhD from University of Southern Queensland in Australia within a specific area of human resource management and key area that is talent management and knowledge management. Since joining Baghdad University in 2007, he has published many publications in the domain of operation management, human resource management, and knowledge management. He is a reviewer for the European Journal of Innovation Management, Journal of Applied Research in Higher Education, and the International Journal of Productivity and Performance Management. Dr. Athir has a membership at the editing staff member of Journal of Economics and Administrative Sciences, Baghdad, Iraq. He has several awards recently from the Australia Academy of Business Leaderships, Sydney, Australia in 2018. So we welcome you, sir, in this plenary sessions. Next speaker is from another is Dr. Anthony Bagarian. My special welcome to him, reason being that we are having bit of time gap, so it's very early morning in France, and here at least it's around 10 a.m. So Anthony Bagarian is currently working as a quality manager for the Vectors System Corporation in Stuttgart, Germany. He has completed his PhD at ISM International School of Management, Paris in 2019. He earned both his bachelor and master degree at Linköping Technical University in Sweden in quality management. He has published numerous articles in reputed journals. His area of research interests are quality management, entrepreneurialism, Six Sigma, operational management, and business statistics. Prior to commencing his studies, he had obtained substantial experience of utilizing Six Sigma in diverse industries in Europe. So I welcome you, sir, in this board, and I hope that we are going to learn a lot from these keynote speakers.
Also,
So
thank
I
you very
welcome
much.
you.
Thank you, Salim.
Now, I would like to invite Professor Imran Salim for his keynote speech.
Thank you, Mr. Adil, and I'm really indebted to the university administration to give me the opportunity to speak before such an august gentry. Well, I think, I mean, it is an opportunity, an entrepreneurial initiative given the COVID crisis. Somehow I strongly feel that the education world has really able to make out with the things. And entrepreneurship, see, given the situation across the world, and given the fact that the businesses have come to a halt, given the fact that, I mean, the economic scenario across the world is really subdued, I strongly feel that entrepreneurial initiatives, especially at the small level, are very important, very pertinent from each of the economies. Because you see, I mean, the big multinationals, the middle order business system has actually, in fact, the higher end of the multinationals have benefited from COVID. They had been able to cut their cost and kept on working, but the manufacturing sector and the middle order business class has actually collapsed, and especially the small enterprises in the countries, in the developing countries like India, have severely affected. And therefore, entrepreneurial initiative has somewhat become even a more riskier proposition in the current scenario. I strongly believe that economies, in order to rebound, in order to make a catch up, will really have to look out for these initiatives at the small levels and the middle order level. The governments will have to put in their efforts to streamline, because that is only possibly the way out. Now, the youth holds a responsibility in order to visualize. See, entrepreneurship very often is taken up at that level which I'm mentioning, the least, I mean, the most fundamental level, the lower level of the strata, is out of necessity, out of desperation. The entrepreneurial initiatives are taken, and usually people are unable to really take up the things in a way it is desired as an entrepreneurial initiative. Most of the time, some businesses started with a desperation, with out of necessity of earning one's livelihood, and therefore I think it is severely impinged from day one. What I really feel that in order to start an entrepreneurial initiative, the individual, the person, the entrepreneur in that case, need to really visualize oneself in the first place. I strongly feel that unless we visualize ourselves effectively, we should not enter into a business. Because I strongly believe that business entrepreneurial initiative is somewhat very holistic, where you have to not only start the business, you have to have the ability to visualize that what are the people you need, how would you build the team, how would you go for an idea, how would you manufacture, how would you produce the things, how would you see, every step of life is to be managed by the entrepreneur himself, at least in the beginning. So that is extremely important, and therefore scanning oneself before scanning the business idea, I strongly believe that scanning oneself is most vital initiative that an individual should take before taking a decision to start an entrepreneurial initiative. Because whether one has the real intent to start a business, because that intention actually keeps you in the business with ups and tides. Then second thing is, do you have the temperament? Do you have the attitude of running a business? That is extremely important, because if you ask me, I cannot run a business. Possibly, somewhat, I'm over enthusiastic about things, and sometimes I'll just take a second. I'm sorry, there is some hiccup. Just a second, please. I'm extremely sorry. So that intent and attitude of an individual is very important. Then comes behavior and action. So scanning oneself is my first take. I strongly believe that if you don't have the temperament, don't go for it, because you would not be able to sustain the business, even if it is initiated and started. Second thing which I strongly believe is that, I mean, you will find a number of definitions about scanning ideas, about starting a business, about planning a business, about arranging the resources. But what I really flag here is that as an entrepreneur, we really need to understand that the word is about creating the utility. If you can create the utility, I think you have every potential to start a business. Creating the utility, scanning the utility, and your ability to create that utility is most vital thing that need to be looked at. Very often what happens that if we have the opportunity to produce something, if we have an idea, we almost get obsessed that we would be able to make it. Oh, it is such a fabulous idea. Oh, this is my produce. Because when it is your brainchild, you start loving it. It is a human nature that anything that we create, we start loving it. When I'm talking and I'm loving what I'm talking. This is a human nature. And therefore, most of the time, I mean, many of the times at least, what happens is that an entrepreneur starts something and he starts loving his idea and product, and he just keeps on going. He is unable to visualize the fact that whether it is actually needed in the society at large or not. That is another catch. The way we have to scan ourselves, the second thing is that whether the product that you have in your hand, that you intend to offer, does it have the utility for the society, for the masses? Because very often, see what happens, a human behavior and nature is such that when we produce something, we start loving it. And if we don't love, then that means we are ourselves not convinced in the first place. So how would we do with that business? But once we start loving it, we are almost often over obsessed. We don't realize that whether this idea or whether this produce has the effective utility for the masses or not. Can we really, because we maybe to start with, we have a very small section which might need it and use it. But does it have scalable utility? That is the very, very pertinent question that one has to ask oneself. If we cannot scale up a business, then I mean, it is like opening a shop, which I believe is hardly an entrepreneurial initiative. It is just a business. It is just a necessity. You do it. You have an opportunity. You do it. But when you can scale up something, that's a good business. That could be a good business idea. If you cannot scale up any of the business, then I think you think twice, because out of necessity you might start something, and if it is not scalable, sooner or later you tend to fall. You don't get it. Creation of utility, sensing it, that what utility is required is extremely important. Ola is an example. Ola, Uber, all these taxis. What they did, they just created utility of place. They hardly have any assets. It's just on the computers. It's just the package. You just connect the people. And the utility is created. And it's a big business model. And the worth of the company has increased manifold. So many business ventures. Actually, what they did is they sensed the utility and they created that utility. So if we cannot create the utility, if you cannot visualize the utility and facilitate accordingly, I think that in the long run, your business tend to fall. We don't start a business just to start a business. We want to see it grow. We want to see it maturing. Nobody wants to have a child which is disabled from day one. No. Nobody wants it, even if you have it, unfortunately. So that is another important thing. Then the another thing that I would like to mention, Mr. Adil, do I have another 2-3 minutes? Thank you.
Sure, sir, sure.
Another very vital thing is that the present world is highly dynamic, highly dynamic. It is almost fluid. Things are changing fast. Youth like you is ever evolving newer ideas and giving newer technologies and intervention of artificial intelligence, and these things have really made the economic situation very fluid. And you have to keep on evolving. You have to keep on upskilling your knowledge and skill both wherever you are working. That is extremely important. If you want to continue as an entrepreneur, I strongly believe that just knowing at a point of time, just having a skill at a point of time, starting your business, and then not upskilling and reskilling and developing, evolving further your knowledge onto that area would put you in a dark situation. You have to be necessarily ever evolving. That is the clue of the present day businessman. It cannot be just a static. It is not like that you develop a model, put it in the market and don't evolve it. No, because the people would catch up like anything. There are very large number of people who are aspiring to be the entrepreneurs, and the people have the facilities, technology, and especially given the technology, the world has flattened like anything. It is not that you are sitting at any other country or maybe US or UK and you would be able to have all the facilities. No, we are almost equally equipped at all the levels of the world, wherever I'm sitting. I believe that sitting in India at the moment is an opportunity in itself, because I am able to economize on cost and other things. I have a lot of manpower. I have so many things. I have so many resources at my disposal. And I would be able, maybe if I have the attitude and temperament, I would be able to evolve a new business model, which you are working on, and it might be quite cost effective. So you will have to really refurbish your ideas. You just cannot stick and start to just one idea. You have to be ever evolving. So when you want to be an entrepreneur and you happen to be an entrepreneur, then make it a point that you have the attitude of being an intrapreneur throughout your life. It is a basic essence. Then only I believe that you would be able to continue with the upskilling and the better performance of your business. I'm sure that we have so many panelists delivering more on it. Thank you very much. This is from my side.
Thank you, Professor Imran Salim, for your wonderful thoughts on entrepreneurship. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat for his keynote speech.
Thank you, Dr. Adilji. So at the outset, I would like to thank the University, OP Jindal University, for providing this opportunity. I would like to also thank Dr. Adil, Dr. Sunil, and all the faculties who are organizing this beautiful conference and providing an platform to all the researchers, practitioners, and academicians across the world to discuss about new and innovative practices in entrepreneurship and innovation. So I have a couple of points which I would like to add up to this. Whatever my predecessor has said, respected sir has said, very interesting thing is that we have to find a kind of a gap in the market and provide some sort of utility. So I would try to build on that particular thing. I will not take much time. I'll keep it short. Dr. Adilji, how much time I have? A couple of minutes?
Sir, yes, about 10 minutes.
Okay, sir, sure. So there are some key points which I would like to add to this dais. So if we look at today's business scenario in India and across the world, and especially when you talk about entrepreneurship and innovation, there is one word which we cannot escape, that is startups. Because startups are something which builds some sort of hope or some sort of innovation in the business ecosystem, society, country, or the globe at large. Now, when we start evaluating those startups, there is another word which comes to our mind, that is called unicorn. And now, of the late in Silicon Valley, in India, and different Silicon Valleys across the world, they are talking about unicorns, unicorns, and different other words. So they will talk about the potential of the business. Now, just to keep it short, I would like to describe what unicorns are. Anyone, any startup which is going beyond a valuation of $1 billion. Now, in future, they are saying that unicorn should be valued at a $10 billion US dollar, and so forth and so on. Then there has to be a separate word for $1 trillion companies and so on, like 100 billion or $1 trillion and so on. But any startup which is more or less around pegged around $1 billion. Now, if we analyze, this is something from the Indian context. So, if we analyze the startups, there are certain startups which have gained more prominence. So, in the first phase of the Indian startup boom, we found many e-commerce website, marketplace website, then followed by fintech website, and of the late we could see health tech as well as education technology at tech companies growing up. But when carefully analyzing all the startups, I could find there is one interesting gap is there, maybe which will be working as input for all our researcher practitioners and academicians in this uh, respected or the honorable platform. So that is about agriculture based startups. So in India, till today, this days of the recent reports, what I find is that there are around 1,380 or close to 1,400 startups related to agriculture. Out of that, we have around 600 to 670 startups in agri-tech. So when we analyze the agricultural thing, it has not gained so much importance. So I feel that personally, I feel there is a huge scope and gap for entrepreneurship, researcher and practitioners, managers, and also those entrepreneurs who are willing to create a wealth or create some sort of business model in this particular sector that is called agriculture. Agriculture, I have tried to identify it in three specific things. So one is the normal agriculture, that is about the cultivation part of it. Now, if you look at India, despite in some reports they say more than 50% people are employed directly or indirectly by the agriculture. In certain reports, they are saying up to two-thirds or three-fourths of the people are directly or indirectly employed by the agriculture. But it is again, there is no controversy on this that agriculture is deploying or employing maximum number of people in India or workforce. But it is not contributing even one-third to the GDP. It is very less. Now, what are the different reasons? Now, we all know that a different reason could be from policy to from infrastructure and so on. But this opportunity, what has been given, so I have tried to find out some of the potential solutions which can build certain hope in this particular sector. So normally we are talking about agriculture, and of the late there are many institutions which are talking about agri businesses or agricultural based business model. But there is one scope is there, or one I would say niche thing in the overall agricultural sector, that is called agri-tech. How health tech, fintech, and different other e-commerce based platforms have completely revolutionized the startup ecosystem. Now I can feel that agri-tech is one such thing, which is something building beyond only agriculture or only agricultural based businesses or trading house or association. Agri-tech can be a kind of redeemer of all those hopes and wishes of this agricultural sector. Now, one of the report which I was going through is that ENY report, which is pegging the agri-tech business to be pegged around 20-25 billion dollar. But till today or till to 2021 quarter one, they are saying that only 1% of that particular potential has been capitalized. Now we have around $600 million investment in agri-tech business till 2020. But in this 2020 to 21 year, in this one and a half year, we found that there are close to $1.7 billion has been invested. So we can say that total investment is around $2 billion US dollar, but it has a potential to grow 5 times or 8 times and so on in near future in the timeline of 5 to 7 years in terms of investment and all. So what is this agricultural sector? How does it look like where it is scattered? So by analyzing a couple of key points, what I have understood is there are three zones in India. One is Karnataka, Bangalore being the hub of it. Bangalore and Mysuru, that zone, which is very rapidly adopting this agri-tech thing. because they are thinking not just in terms of agriculture or agribusiness or trading houses. They're going one step ahead and they're building that kind of tech-based innovation, because technology, IT enabled services is one of the core competency of Indian startup ecosystem. Then after Karnataka, there is another state, that is Maharashtra, Pune, Mumbai belt. They are also trying to leverage. And then we have Delhi NCR or NCR Delhi region, which is capitalizing on agri-tech. But barring these three regions or three zone in terms of startups, we don't see that many such zones are there. Even our institution, MBA Murshidabad, which is based at West Bengal, and it is a kind of a junction of West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, and even Bangladesh. So this is such a fertile region, such a potential region, promising region with a legacy of hundreds of years, right from the days of Nawabs, and we can find that silk and agricultural products and sugar cane and all those agri products are available here in terms of raw materials. But despite all those resources, we do not find that there is a huge scope in terms of agri-tech thing, agricultural technologies. So we have our startup system, and that is in that we have a Center for Agricultural Excellence for the startups and innovation, where we are trying to build that kind of capacity in terms of innovation. So of my some of the latest works, I would like to cite certain of the interesting part what we have found here in this case. Why, apart from these two or three reasons, why we do not see agricultural technology thing? I'm not talking about agriculture or agricultural business, but agricultural technology, which is the agri-tech. Why they are not been so popularized? So these are the some interesting part which I could find. Now, if you understand the agricultural and agriculturalist products, there are two things. One is the overall value chain of the agricultural thing. So there are two models which we have identified. There is one very interesting model is that farm to fork. So right from the field of the farmers to the fork, means we can on the platter, on the plate for the people or consumers who are consuming it. So if you can integrate that supply chain or that overall value chain from farm to home, and another aspect is that farm to fashion. So these are the two things which we have identified in our region, Murshidabad being a silk hub or agricultural hub. So in fashion sector also, agriculture can contribute in terms of sericulture, moriculture, and cotton cultivation and different other things. But the problem here is that how do we integrate that value chain and that integrated supply chain part of it? So today we need some sort of cross-functional knowledge. Since India has many agricultural universities, we have many institutions which are focused on agri-sciences, where they talk about the cultivation, soil refinement, they talk about different other inputs, ingredients, and so on. But there is something which is lacking in this. So we are not able to create that kind of integrated system which has been created elsewhere. So that's why we need to focus on the business model part of it. How can we add the value in terms of business model, innovation, business analytics, and then of the late, the data science technologies. And some of the tools and technologies are like artificial intelligence, machine learning, or Internet of Things. But to be very precise, the farmers or the traders or the businesses, they do not understand what is MI, ML, what is AI, what is IoT. But there is something we need to translate into something very much easily understandable thing, like what is the value it is adding in the existing value system or supply chain system. Who are the beneficiary? How I am able to connect the farmers to the person who is actually eating the food or the person who is actually consuming some fashion products, whether I'm able to integrate that whole supply chain, because it's a very unorganized sector or it's kind of fragmented thing. So I feel that technology can provide that kind of hope, and provided we are having that kind of transdisciplinary or cross-functional approach in it in terms of data science, business model innovation, agri sciences, and business analytics. We have a lot of capabilities. India has so many agricultural institutions, we have so many business schools, we have so many analytics and digital institutions, but somehow we are not able to connect the dots and take it beyond 2 to 3 states like Karnataka, Maharashtra, and that Delhi NCR. Now, what is happening that there are few constructs we have identified is that today we are talking about there is so much issues are happening in terms of farmers. Now, how the technology can fulfill to the gap in that particular thing. So we know that technology can improve efficiency. We are talking about gig economy, shared economy. What is technology doing? It is increasing the efficiency. It is scaling up. It is trying to leverage on the existing business model and taking to the new areas, new geography, market development, product development, going beyond the country of origin or city of the origin. But there is one part where technology, I feel, is having some lack, that is in terms of inclusiveness. So of the late, analyzing some of the literature which we have identified, our research team, is that inclusiveness is something, and trust. If agricultural technology, agri-tech, they are able to fulfill that gap in terms of inclusiveness, so that everyone feels inclusive, that nobody is taking anyone's job. At the same time, building efficiency, building transparency, and building trust. Then only the farmers, micro entrepreneurs, corporate funded entrepreneurs, or institutions will be able to survive or coexist simultaneously. And this will lead to the productivity and growth of this sector. Now, some of the facts I will add in a couple of minutes. Sir, I have 2 minutes. Adilji?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah. So I was analyzing the potential and productivity. When you talk about the productivity, we talk about inclusiveness, transparency, and efficiency. Now we'll talk about how much land we have at our disposal. Now, if you look at India, we have around 166 million hectare of land, that is for China. But in India, we have 198 million hectare of land. Now that says that India has more kind of a disposable land for agricultural thing. But despite that, if you compare the output, so $1367 billion is for China and India for 407. So we can see that there is a almost 3 times. So even though China has lesser agricultural disposable land, they have a higher productivity because they have been able to improve the systems, and of the late they are trying to leverage on the technology part of it. So we can understand that it is not just the agricultural land or available land, or not just the how many people are working. If you are somehow building the efficiency by using the right technology, right business model, and right efficiency based tools, then only I think we can transform this business. And we can see that there's a lot of funding is happening. So many entrepreneurs and many researchers or practitioners can actually tap this field. So that's all from my side. Thanks for providing this opportunity. Thank you. Now it's over to the respected panel members. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Atir Abdullah Mohammed for his keynote speech. Welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir. Kindly unmute yourself, sir. Atir, sir, you are muted.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. I am very happy to meet with big scholars like this group. First, I will thank Dr. Sonel for your invitation to this scientific conference. Firstly, I will just speak about the importance of entrepreneurship to the India economies. Okay, I focus just about India economies because I think COVID-19 majors many issues related in times of money and for as well people. I think entrepreneurship is very important for all economics, especially in emerging economies like India. I will focus about how can entrepreneurship can maybe increase develop the economy. This shows the importance of entrepreneurship in the best way. For example, new products and services produced by entrepreneurs may boost the economic growth of related companies. This is also true for sectors that need to support the new business. I will focus about a little example. During the 19th and last century, a few information technology companies made up the IT industry in the India. The industry grew quickly and it helped many other businesses. Business have grown related to sectors such as call centers operations. network repair firms, and hardware suppliers. Institute of Education and Training feed the curve of a new generalization of IT employees. They were given better high-paying jobs. Now, I think it is most to how can increase the how maximize the profit of the India economy. I think it is when I say it is very easy to say how can I increase, how can the India economy grows, but it is in fact it is very difficult because it needs the more relations between the government and the scientific institutions like universities. Okay. I think entrepreneurship projects help create fresh wealth. Established companies can remain maybe it's direct to existing markets. Can I, in terms of profit search, a limit, improve goods, service, or technology from businesses, enable the growth of new markets and creation of new wealth. Also, I think there is maybe area increased jobs and higher incomes in the form of higher tax revenue and expense lead to better national income. So this importance of shape and human resources. This is from one aspect. Another aspect maybe in social change by entrepreneurs. This importance of entrepreneurship to break from tradition and reduce dependence on outdated system by providing unique products and services. This will lead to an improved quality of life, improved behavior, and greater independence of the economy. Sometimes apps have changed working and playing around the world for more modern case, as more than 1 billion, for example, 1 billion people have mobile devices around the world. Smartphones are not limited to rich countries or people. Technological entrepreneurship will have an external, long-lasting effects on the planet as well. Yes, there is many maybe aspects for how can develop the entrepreneurship in India. Is there any maybe, are you hearing quickly?
No, sir, you are audible, clear.
Okay. Another aspect, for example, self-motivation. Self-motivation is one of the most significant characteristics of entrepreneurs. Even if you don't have an immediate income, you need to commit to the strategy and keep moving forward. This, I think, for two individuals. Yes. Thank you so much. I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you, teacher. And yeah, thank you, teacher.
Thank you so much.
Just to inform the audience, few of them have joined later. So just to introduce about Atif sir, he's the assistant professor at Baghdad University, Iraq, and he has done his PhD from University of Southern Queensland in Australia within a specific area of human resource management and talent management, along with knowledge management. So this is the brief introductions which I have given to about Dr. Atir sir. So next speaker is Dr. Anthony Bagarian. Anthony Bagarian is currently working as a quality manager for the Vector System Corporation in Stuttgart, Germany. He has completed his PhD at ISM International School of Management, Paris in 2019. He earned both his bachelor and master degree at Linkspoint Technical University in Sweden. In quality management, he has published numerous articles in reputed journals. His area of research interests are quality management, entrepreneurialism, Six Sigma, operational management, and business statistics. Prior to commencing his studies, he had obtained substantial experience of utilizing Six Sigma in diverse industries in Europe. So I would like to invite Dr. Anthony Bagarian for his keynote speaks. So welcome you, sir. Welcome you.
Thanks, Daniel, for your invitation. Well, the subject matter, as you mentioned, about the role of innovation in the entrepreneurship for sustainable business development and environment. Sustainable environment is very big issues in the Europe. I don't know if it's also in India or Asia as well, but in Europe we have a big issue about the sustainable business. You know, the Europe is most business and entrepreneurship is most economic driven. But nowadays, since a couple of years, we have a big issue about the economical issues, about the resource. We have a not so big resource, and particularly in Europe, we have a restricted resource. But how we have to have a sustainable environment and have in the same time economical resource as well, as we have to have both of them together. So we have a big issues, for instance, for the environmental issue about automotive in Europe. They have making lots of mass in Europe about the environmental poisons and something like that. So we have to come up with some innovative idea about how to have to drive our economical. So it's both sustainable for economical and business. So I did some publication about these issues, about particularly in the hospital environment. So I think the most resolution about bringing together both business and environmental issue about bringing three dimensions of economical sustainability, which is social sustainability, economic environmental sustainability, and the other, and economical sustainability, all these two together. So my solution for this issues is about bringing the product sustainability, integrating the product sustainability attribute and metrics into decision tree and design of the product to start with, and then the process for developing these products. Also integrating the attribute of the sustainability issues, material choose, and how to we would manufacture it in the sustainable way, into both from the design and manufacturing, both in the supply chain from the start and upstream and downstream of the manufacturing, both from the, no matter what industry it is. It could be the healthcare, it could be in the automotive, it could be the airplane, or whatever it is. So by integrating these two, this attribute of environmental and metrics into both for the supplier and our design and our manufacturing, we could have a big progress in this area. And the other issues and the other resolution would be have to involve our stakeholder in the context of the improving data quality and increasing the utilization of the product's life cycle, both for the upstream and the downstream of the product life cycle. also both from the manufacturing side and the supplier side. And I think that the three resolution for this in this area would be government should have to have some regulation about material choose and incentiveness and tax break and tax improvement for those companies that have this sustainable environmental and business sustainability in this area. So they have a big tax break. They don't have to pay lots of for coal and for their operation, and they have a tax break for this operation and the material choose and design for the sustainability in their operation. And they could also impose the tax elevation for those companies that they're choosing the wrong material or poisonous material or something like that. So they could redirect the operation and strategy into more sustainable way. Because in Europe, they have a opposite to the India or Asia, they have an economic driver. They are not thinking about the economy or about the future or something. They're just thinking about the money, because they have a owner. The owner is asking about how profitable you have this year and how you have improved it from the last year to this year. So this is a crazy thing. We have to change the mind. And this innovative solution, I think this is a big issue right now. And we have lots of restriction, and they have imposed some taxes and revelation about corporation taxes, but not. This is still in the start, and this is still not well done project. These three solutions this way, I think we have a big issue, big progress we could have. This is what I think entrepreneurship should think about this area as well, because particularly in Europe, we have to start, and if you have to drive some business now on, it's a self-driven and a good idea, or something like that. It's all the same stuff. But you have to think about the environment and make it sustainable for a long time. But how you could make it both of them is a big question. So this solution, I think it would be have the sustainable solution for to have it innovative and to have it make it entrepreneurship and have it sustainable in the long run. So this is also my other research work I have done. I have done also. I'm doing my other publication couple of months in this area, but mostly it's about healthcare and something like that. But no matter what industry it is, I think more or less we would have encountered the same resolution as well. Do you have more time, Sanil?
You can take, sir, 2 to 3 minutes more. You can take,
All right.
no problem, sir.
Well, entrepreneurship, as I told you, in Europe is a bit different. The idea and how they drive it is a bit different than Europe and India. As you talk about agriculture in Europe and particularly in India and Europe is quite different. Here is mostly driven with automation, artificial intelligence, and something like that. And when they're doing the business, they mostly see about if there is need about it. Then the people invested in it. They're not thinking about how you either good is or not. But first of all, they think if they have a profit from it. The investor, they are just thinking about if they can make a profit of that. No matter if it's important for the country or society or something like that, but just think about this year. And the next year, they don't care it. So for you have a profit, they invest in you. But the most important, you have to, in agriculture in India, what you're doing, for instance, I think you have to find that the need for people there, then make it profitable. then you have a big drive for it. Then people would invest in a startup. So it's in Europe. Then not enough. Then they have to make it sustainable for the environment and sustainable for the long run. That's more important, because no matter what good your idea is, maybe you run it for one couple of years, 2 years, 10 years, then you are off the road. When you have a competition, the competitor coming with better cost, better quality, then you are out of the business. So you have to make it sustainable at least 50, 60 years or something, and profitable about at least 10% profit each year. Is how the business would be invest in you and they trust you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Anthony Vagarian. So I have some questions from panelists. So first one I would like to ask from Professor Atir Abdullah. He has talked about the impact of entrepreneurship in Indian context. So can you throw some lights on that what sort of entrepreneurial activities which is going on at your place in Iraq, and how it is different from that Indian context? So can you throw some lights on that aspect? You are muted, sir. You are muted. Kindly unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for your question. Just the first question, just I want to correct your question. Can you repeat it?
Yes, during your talk, you have discussed about impact of entrepreneurship in Indian context. That it's going to create revenue, it's going to create income, it's going to create national income, and that income can be utilized by the government, and then again it will help in creation of employment opportunity, etc., like that. So I just would like to ask what sort of entrepreneurial activities which is going on at your place I'm talking about, in case of Iraq. So entrepreneurial ventures which is coming in Iraq, and how these sort of things are bringing changes in youth's life over there. So if you could throw some lights on that aspect.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. As everyone can know about the Iraq economy, because our economy is one of the Middle East countries. It depends on only the oil, because we have oil. I think our government, especially 2 years ago, had faced many issues regarding with how can improve their profit and especially entrepreneurship economy. This maybe enable many opportunities to make profit, especially decrease the salaries, retire many people, especially the decrease the level age of the employee from 65 to 60 years old. Yes, this is and for example, we our government is related with other, especially in the OPEC organization, yeah, in times of the oil. Now is the economic Iraq economy. It is very maybe emerging. It is very growing because the oil price is very is higher than before, especially in 9/17 is maybe disappeared maybe 1 year in the future. In India, I think the government in India has to depend on the maybe how can maybe benefit from the same economy like India, because India maybe has some resources, for example, agriculture, how can I think maybe export some capital human people to other countries, which is need maybe experts like Indian people. I think this like, is that okay?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you,
Mr.
Atif, sir.
Sunil, may I just add one thing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
See, I strongly believe that contextuality of an entrepreneurial initiative is very pertinent because, for instance, if you take, if we are talking about the agriculture sector, you see agriculture sector in India is less capital intensive, less technology oriented. We are being able to produce and export the raw material. Maybe it is okay with us. But presently, if you check out with the literature, you will find that many of the Gulf countries have started producing. They have lots of money. They have started producing agriculture produce, and it is very capital intensive, and they are making quite a bit of exports rather than only import. But is it economically and technically a viable business proposition? That need to be looked at, because water is one of the very scarce contents, and they are exploiting their underground water like anything, and it is depleting at a very fast rate, which is not desirable from their economic point of view. And there is a term called virtual water content. Virtual water is being exported from the GCC countries, and they are not taking a note of it. And that's a serious threat to these economies in the long run. The government should come forward and check this, prioritize the things. They can go for, I strongly believe that all the Gulf countries can go for, food security rather than food sufficiency. They should not target for food sufficiency. It's not necessary that everybody should produce everything. It's not required, I believe. They have financial resources and they can ensure, they are secure food-wise. I'm sure I have visited these Gulf countries, and I know for sure that they have everything in their markets. There is no issue. So in that way, they are actually importing the water from abroad, which is good. Just getting into agriculture in the name of entrepreneurship and producing things and exporting is a drain on the water resources of that area in the long run, which is not desirable and which is not optimal strategy in the long run. And therefore, I think that it is the duty of the policymakers and the governments to visualize that what are the priority areas where the nation should go, where the nation should head for. I'll just put up another example of Punjab. Punjab has sterilized its lands over fertilization, use of fertilizers. And now we need a huge lot of more water. Very recently, Bikaner and these areas adjacent, Rajasthan is being taken over by the Punjab farmers, and pomegranate, which is a very water intensive thing, is being produced in Bikaner, which is not the right strategy. So it's not a very sustainable thing. So I think that any entrepreneur who intend to take up a business venture should really think twice about the sustainability, and the national concern should be taken care of by the government and should intervene. I think Mr. Ravi would be in a better position since he's working on agriculture and has made a lot of researches. I'm really impressed with his talk. And Mr. Anthony, who has created over and again, talked about the sustainability. These issues need to be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next question I would like to ask from Professor Imran Salim sir only. Sir has talked about that scanning oneself to understand that where we are moving towards. Creating utility, sir has talked about upskilling and reskilling, which is the need of hour. If you are not going to do that, then you won't be able to succeed or any kind of startups. That is pertinent, that is important. So I just want to know that how such kinds of things we can impart in our education system so that students could able to learn such kinds of things, and they are going to know that come up with new ideas and new creative that ventures.
I think what I try, see, and we can always learn from the things. Very recently, I mean, not very recently, but for last few years, I have been associated as a visiting professor at IIM also. So that was my learning point, and despite my age, I decided to equip myself and re-skill myself. And there I took up the methodology of case studies and the research papers from the quality journals. And I found that it really encouraged me at this age to think over and over again, to deliberate on those things and connect and develop things. And this is how I talk to the students. And we had really been able to talk that, oh my God, what we need to do. That is type of environment I strongly recommend in the class. The teachers, because you see, in the present scenario, given the access to the YouTube and all the net information, perhaps there is a plethora of information available. You cannot think of anything which is possibly which is not available on the net. You just press a few words and you'll find n number of websites on this, lakhs and lakhs of hits. So there is no dearth of information. What we really need, the need of the time, need of the hour, the clarion call is that we as the teacher will have to build up an environment where we encourage inquisitiveness of the students. We address that. We make them to think and deliberate and discuss. See, we really need to synthesize the things. That's the only thing. And I always believe that the younger generation is smarter than me. I'm sure that Sunil is a better person than me. I'm sure that Adil is more informed than me. But given my age and my experience, I can synthesize, I can facilitate, I can share the experiences of my life, which at times has helped me to build up differently and respond to a particular situation, which given your age, given your youth, you may not understand that intricacies, because there are certain hormonal and other changes in life, in body, which actually change the pattern of thinking itself. And therefore, I strongly believe that if you really wish to build up your education, you have to position yourself as a teacher, as a facilitator, rather than just delivering the information. Delivery of the information, that era is over. When we were a student, I believe that our teachers were like internet to us, giving all information. They were our internet. They were like God to us. What my teacher has said was the final word. It is not so now. What we say, the students check on the net. So we have to really facilitate. We have to understand. We have to reposition. The teachers will have to reskill themselves to become just a delivering person. No. We have to facilitate. We have to create an environment and a platform where the students can deliberate and they get the creativity. I hope the answer is done. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next, I would like to ask one questions from Professor Ravi Bhagat, sir. And
sorry, just if I interrupt you, if you don't have any question for me, I have to go, because here it's too early and I have a little bit things to do. If you don't have any question for me, just let me know. So I have to go now.
Then I'll ask that questions from you, and then that you can go, sir. No problem.
Okay.
So I apologize from that Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat, sir. And
no issue.
So
Dr. Anthony might be maybe.
Yes. So, Dr. Anthony, you have talked about that sustainability. You have talked about that environment, economic sustainability. You have talked about social sustainability. And you have talked about that some sort of that the kind of practices which has been adopted in agriculture in Europe as well as that because it's a lot more difference that as it happens in India since my childhood that I'm seeing that whenever I used to go my village, I see that it is the same that except that pakka houses, I'll say that concrete houses, nothing have changed. So in terms of agricultural practices are concerned, few technology, that are maybe tractors and maybe a new technology that has been introduced. But as of productivities are concerned, as of that incomes are concerned, I think that marginal changes has happened only. So I just would like to ask you that uh, is there any that sustainable agricultural model that has been adopted in Europe? If we are going to know that, can you highlight on certain aspects? Sustainable agricultural model that has been adopted by majority of farmers in Europe, and that we are missing over here.
Well, but agriculture, particularly agriculture in Europe, is different. For instance, France is very focused on agriculture. In north of Europe, they are also very focused on agriculture. But in Germany or UK, they are less important because they mostly import. Agriculture is less important. They are most industrial sector. But if you see not the changes, it's maybe about the cultural aspect, because every country and every people, they have a difference mindsetting. You have to focus on how the Indian people initiates the people. What they have. Every country have their own fixation. What's most important? One thing is important in Europe or in Germany is not important for India, for instance. You have to focus it out. What's most important in the cultural aspect and in the mindset of the people in the Indian, and then try to focus there and find it out, then drive it. What's most important for north of India is less important maybe in the east of India. And it's been theory is one thing, and application of the theory is one other thing. Application is mostly about the context and the culture of the people and mindset. You have to not enforce them. You have to do things without knowledge, but you have to convince them with the number, with the case study, with the example, and something like that. Then you build the trust, then convince them and support them. And so as you make it a cooperative business and not just things is like that and just do it. They don't, when they're not convinced, they do it. It's like the change management. When they're not convinced, they not follow you up. And then when they're not in the mind, then they're not in the heart, and then they do not follow. It's something they think, yeah, it's just business as usual. Let's take it over. So it's in Europe, it's quite different. Agriculture, every country they have their own culture, but in business, the government in Europe, they support you with the money, with the if they must see you in your business culture. If you're sustainable is your business, then they support you. Without sustainable and approval of the sustainability, if your business is sustainable, then they don't give you money. In agriculture in Europe, they give you lots of money, and lots of substantive money they give you for agriculture in Europe. If they're producing something, maybe they get from the government 10% or 20% support. But government first have to see how you run your business, and if they have, for instance, deficiency about the technology, then they support you with technology, with know-how. There's people there, they support you with the know-how and with technology and something like that, and the money as well. So they would be less reliable from the other countries. The best agriculture in the whole world is in US. They are a big power agriculture in US because they have a good technology and they are traditional farmer. They are in US. They are traditional farmer, and farmer in US compared to other campaign, they are superpower in the term of the agriculture. So you cannot compare and apply the solution, but it's there in the India as well. There is a mindset of the culture of the India you have to think, I think.
Okay, so thank you, Dr. Anthony Bagarian. I know that I welcome you. I thank you on behalf of School of Management being the part of these technical sessions, and
I appreciate this.
we have learned a lot from your that word of wisdom. So,
So
thank
I-
you so much. Thank you so
So I
much.
am Dr. Samir. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
for
much.
participating. I see you later. Thank you.
Okay.
So, everyone.
So, next questions which I would like to ask from Dr. Ravi Shankar Bhagat sir. And sir has talked about a model, he has talked about farm to fork, and then he has elaborated a little bit, that farm to consumer and farm to fashions. So can you enlighten us, some simplistic way that how, though I belong to a farmer family, and my father and mother, they are doing farming only at village. Uh, but I just want to know that, the kind of cultivation we used to do at our place, we won't be able to make, make it profitable. Whatever amount of money that has been generated by our, farms, again, that has been invested in terms of, cost, I'll say. So how we can, how we will be able to do such kinds of things, farm to consumer as well as farm to fashion. So if you could able to elaborate a little bit more on this aspect.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sunil ji. So, based on my limited experience or restricted perception, I would like to answer this from my perspective. So, what we have usually seen in India is the people who are involved into agriculture. So, the people who are involved into agriculture, they are not conditioned to think beyond agriculture. So, being a primary industry, they are not told or instructed or conditioned to think beyond that, whether it is food processing or whether it is the services sector or retail or distribution, except few things. Like there are few cottage industry who are making basically papads or some pickles or some BDs and those kind of things at small scale. But barring few, usually the primary economies are third and secondary and tertiary, like if you talk in a very basic thing. So that's where I have discussed about agri-business. So usually the farmers, they have very less understanding of the agri-business in itself, and agri-tech is something beyond their perception or beyond their comprehension. And even if you look at few of those state government and central government based initiatives, what has been done is that how to make farmers aware about the prices, and that's where the how mandi systems or e-mandi system or e-governance systems are brought into practices. But what happens after the advent of this private sector? So there are a few startups are like Ninja Cart or Dehat, or of the late one Silk startup is there called Resha Mandi and all. So these are the startups, they're like professionally funded startups working with the corporate culture. They are able to integrate the agricultural, agribusiness and technology in a very synergistic way. So if unless the farmers are told about the overall value chain, because farmers they think that their work is over, if they go to mandi and sell in morning, even if it 1/4 or 1/5 of the market price, so think that it is a burden for them. So unless they are told about the storage, supply chain, all those things in terms of the overall value chain, till that time it will not be fruitful if you wanted to make everybody inclusive. So that's where I brought the point of inclusiveness. Like technology can make it very efficient, but whether it is inclusive, how we are empowering people. So first of all, we need to let them know that how the whole value chain works. So whether it is a potato which is available in a more or Reliance Fresh or in a Big Bazaar or any other Vishal or any other outlet or any kind of e-commerce website or Big Basket and so on. If you are told about the overall value chain, then only the farmers will be interested, which is the best alternative for them to with whom they will tie up. So there are a few startups based at Bangalore. I've interacted with a couple of my earlier students. So they were telling that how they are empowering the people or the farmers, how they're integrating. Even there is a very interesting startup in Mysore who are focusing on this thing called honey, that honeybee cultivation. I think it's called apiculture or something. So they have their one farm where they are basically extracting it, but they don't have the idea about where do I sell, with whom they should tie up. So even if they have one or two buyers in place and they're integrating it, so it's almost like I will make it equivalent to those SMEs who are basically supplying to PSUs for like 50 years or 80 years or 100 years, and they're still surviving. So if you take one unique buyers, institutional buyers, and that's where the institution also comes to the picture. Then only the farmers' life can be transformed. This is my understanding. So we have to make them aware about the value chain and with whom they should associate for long run. So that's what my answer would be. I hope that's okay.
Adil, would you like to ask something?
Just I was listening very carefully. I was very informed and developed some new understanding on these issues. It was like very a new way of thinking for me. So I would like to ask my co-host for the word of thanks. Dr. Sunil Kumar will offer a word of thanks to the guests.
Thank you, Dr. Adil. Respected keynote speakers and dear participants, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks in this plenary session. I, on behalf of the School of Management, OP Jindal University, Raigad, and the entire supporting team, and on my own behalf, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all speakers for sparing their valuable time and enlighten us with your word of wisdom. Respected speakers, your gracing presence added value to this conference. A big thanks to all of our speakers for their valuable insights in the plenary session 3. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to School of Management, OP Jindal University, for giving me opportunity to be part of this conference. My special thanks to Associate Dean, School of Management, OP Jindal University, and all the organizing committee members of the conference for their continuous support and guidance. Without your support, it wouldn't be possible to conduct such a wonderful session. We are all inspired by your great supports. I would like to mention my great reverence towards the participants in the plenary session. I hope it has benefited them for understanding various aspects of entrepreneurship in current economic scenarios, where primarily Sir has talked about scanning oneself, creating utility, upskilling your knowledge, reskilling your knowledge. Bhagat Sir has talked about unicorns, unicorns, and then he has talked about agricultural based startups. And then he has given some numbers as well, that how many startups are there, that 1400 startups, and then out of 1400, 670 startups are in agri-tech. And then he has that categorized that normal agricultural practices in NIS. He has talked about agri-tech, and he has talked about it's a $1 billion economic practices. And then he has elaborated a bit on that some areas in Karnataka, Pune, Maharashtra, Delhi, and NCR, which is popular for such kinds of startups. And he has talked about the model, that form to folk, and he has talked about form to fashions, and then inclusiveness plus trust. That aspect he has talked about how we can build efficiency, how we can build trust with farmers. And then Professor Atir sir has talked about that impact of entrepreneurship on Indian economy. So he has talked about how it is going. It will helps to increase the income, revenue, and it will direct somehow it will help. To great extent, definitely it will help to the national income as well. And then Professor Bagarian sir has talked about economic sustainability, social sustainability, and then how manufacturing units in Europe can adopt some certain sort of things. And these practices, these measures are going to provide sustainable it will enhance sustainability, that economic as well as social sustainability of that area as well. He has talked about when I ask about questions that agricultural practices with respect to Europe and India, then he enlightened us that on that here government that in your government supports a lot to their farmers, But in India, no, that at policy level, we all are aware of that there are thousands of policies, but as of that as of practicality of that policies are concerned, no, implications of implementations of that policies are concerned, it's that a bit scary, I'll say. So these are the certain learnings which we have had from this wonderful sessions. So thank you all keynote speakers. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable times. And I hope that we are going to meet again in some or other intellectual discussions. So thank you so much. Thank you from my bottom of namaste. Namaste.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Atir sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ravi sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Sunil. Thank you, Dr. Adil. Thank you so much. Thanks, OP Jindal University.
Thank you, Ravi sir. Thank you so much. Atir sir, see you. I'll talk to you later.